Welcome. First of all, welcome to our interview, and thank you so much for helping us with this. It's so nice to meet you. First, we're going to start with the questions. Um, First, we'd like to see if you could introduce yourself a bit, about your name, where you're from, what do you do, and something.
Okay, right.
Good.
Okay, so my name is Theresa. It's German. I'm from Austria, and I've been living here in Mexico for 6 years now, working in Querétaro. I work in school. I'm an English teacher and a German teacher, and I have found my family here in this tiny little city, which, some people say Querétaro is a very small city, but then in comparison to all the other places that I've known before and that I have seen before in Austria, especially, it's quite big. So yeah, I've had to get used to this city life, which is interesting for me, and I love to work with my Mexican students. It's quite interesting to see how you guys are connected to the English speaking world due to, being so close to the United States. So that's me.
That's nice. Thank you. Now it's time for Armando to make a question. Hi,
Okay,
Armando.
my question is, why did you become a teacher and why did you choose that profession?
Why did I become a teacher and?
And why did you become chose that profession?
Why did I choose that profession? Okay, right. So why did I become a teacher? Well, I found out quite early in my life, actually, when I was 14 or 15, that I really loved to show other people how to do things. So I was doing gymnastics professionally, and after an injury on my knee, I had to stop doing it professionally. But then several people asked me to show the tiny little kids how to become better at that sport. And actually, I started to teach at the age of 14 or 15. Um, and then later on, I decided to study translation. So actually, I studied translation at university, several languages, and then I found out that when already working as a translator, I found out I'd love to do something more social. So I told my parents, well, you know what? I think I'm gonna do an additional master degree in teaching all those languages that I have studied before. And then they were quite, they agreed with it, and they told me, you always will have a job because so far robots are not yet teaching students completely. So that they were quite happy with my decision, and ever since I've never worked as a translator anymore. I just went straight into the classroom, and I really enjoy working with people. I think it's just amazing to talk to young students like you.
Well, that's a really interesting story. Uh, since you've been doing gymnastics, if I heard right, that's really interesting, and how you found your passion, right? Of teaching.
Yeah,
And I think that teaching is a really nice profession. My dad's a professor as well, so
really.
yes.
I have to say I'm not so patient for little kids. Actually, I have many friends who are primary school teachers, and I am really not into that. I have been tutoring many courses at university. I've been a assistant professor at university too, which was great because the students there literally were so interested in everything. And here at high school, well, it depends. In German, students are not always so motivated. In English, they are because it's just easier. And right. I think I can work really well with young adults, like high school age.
Yeah, I mean, we're in high school and it's
Mhm.
yeah, we
Are
understand.
you in what, 10th grade, 11th grade?
Yes, yes, 11th.
11th.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the next question is for Rodrigo, I think.
Yes. My question is, for how long have you been teaching?
So I've been teaching now for about 8 years. Actually, in Austria, you have to, after university, after your master's degree, you have to do a year in an Austrian school. So I did that back home from where I am. I was teaching for a year there, and then I applied for this specific place here in Querétaro in that Austrian school. And yeah, it's been my 6th year now here. So I'm more into the Mexican school system than that I'm aware about the Austrian one. But yeah, it's been 6 years, 7 years now, and obviously during my career in my whole bachelor degree and master's degree, I already had to also be teaching sometimes and just do some sort of internships at school. But really, really teaching being my main job, that's been 7 years now. Long time.
Yeah. I think some of the questions that are next, you've already kind of mentioned the answers, but
Okay.
would still like to ask them officially. So I think the next question is for Rodrigo
It's for me.
again. No, Armando.
No, it's for me, yeah. The question is, what subjects do you teach?
Okay, yeah, I've already mentioned that I am a English and German teacher here in Querétaro, but in Austria, I'm a Spanish and a French teacher too. So actually, I studied 4 languages, and I'm a teacher for those 4 languages and 4 subjects. But here, as you can imagine, in Mexico, Spanish is taught by the native speakers. And since, I mean, I do speak Spanish very well, but I'm not allowed to teach Spanish here. So here it's just German and English.
Okay. Next question, I think, but it's for Rodrigo. It's your question.
My question is, are you interested in learning other language in the future?
Yes, I'm very much interested in always learning new languages. Actually, I'm taking a language course here in Querétaro. Um, Not so much to learn a new language, but I'm rather trying to not forget those I've already learned. So I'm in a French course at the moment, and we're just, doing conversation and stuff. So to not forget what's already in my brain. I have learned along my life and along my career many different languages. It's been up to 8 different languages that I've been able to talk fluently. But then, over time, when not using them, you will just forget them. So I would love to learn Chinese or Japanese at some point, but right now I don't have the time. But I would really love to learn some kind of Asian related language.
That's really interesting because those are like really difficult languages,
Mhm.
right?
Difficult and different to everything I've known and learned so far.
Yes. I think next question is for Anna.
Yeah, like, do you have like any do you have any tips or advice for learning a new language?
Yes. Well, that's a question that many students always ask me. Well, I go for, well, you guys spend a lot of time talking to friends. I would always go for try to find new friends from another speaking country somehow. online. It's so easy nowadays to get in touch with people who are from, from somewhere else. And obviously, I think I've already said that you have to stay in touch with the language as much as you can. So try to talk to somebody maybe once per week. Don't be shy. It's everybody has learned a different language at some point of their life. So I think you really need to go out and just try it out, not be afraid of anything. And I would always suggest, if you watch TV or I don't know, YouTube or any TikTok videos or whatever, watch them in English, or consume them if you want to learn English, for example, in English. If you want to cook something, well, then download the original recipe in that language, right? You can also, what I suggest very often is to try to read once per day just a few sentences and copy them, or try to read them out loud and read them to a native speaker and let them tell you how it sounds. And yeah, I mean, there's those typical things like Duolingo and all that stuff, and don't lose the streak of every day literally being in touch with that language. But the first thing is to just simply talk to somebody who speaks that language. Find friends out there and get in touch with them.
That's really good advice. Thank you. I think, next question is mine, actually. I was going to ask you if you live in Mexico, because I wasn't sure about that, but now that I know that you're here in Querétaro, it's like, I'd like to ask, what do you like about like Mexico, or like how is life different here?
Okay, right. That's it's a good question, but it's also very difficult to answer in very short, very briefly, because I know time is limited. And so people are so friendly here and so open-minded in comparison. Like they are really, they have a big heart. I love Mexican people. They are always nice, always in a good humor, good mood. They love to learn more about the others and know more about the others. So if you meet somebody on the street, and or even if you get to know someone, they would always want to know why you are here, and really, really honestly want to know your story, which I think is great. Obviously, your food is amazing, and I think you guys have been awarded for Mexican food in several times. What is different, as I already said, is the size of the city, the traffic. It's stunning, impressive how long it takes me to go to work. I'm a bit sad sometimes to see that I cannot use, for example, my bike so easily as at home, where I just simply use my bike to go to school or to work or to see my neighbors or whatever. Here it's because of security reasons mostly necessary to use your car, which makes me a bit sad in the end. But I think Querétaro is working on it, and yeah, it's always a warm weather. It's never rainy. It's never foggy. It's always, sunshine out there makes people happy. And that's what I feel and perceive from you. So every time I talk to Mexican people, I feel like home. And they actually always say, my home is your home, or my house is your house. And that makes me feel so welcome, even being a stranger.
Well, that's nice, and it's true that most of Mexican people are really nice and welcoming. But next question is for Armando.
The question is, have you visited another country? Which one?
Yes, I have visited many countries. I'm very lucky because my dad worked internationally, so I've been literally traveling along with him for years, and I think I know more than 60 or 70 countries. I've been to every continent. I've traveled through whole Europe. I know all the European countries. In America, I know every single country of South America and all the countries of Middle America and the United States and Canada. And well, I've been to Africa several times. However, I'm missing out, you know, South Africa and stuff. I just know the northern parts, and I've been traveling to Asia. I've been there in Indonesia, in Thailand. I've been to the Philippines. Yeah, many all of the countries that I wanted to visit. I've visited them, and that makes me very not only proud but very happy. It's really, honestly, very happy to have been able to get to know so many different countries already.
Wow, that's a lot. I didn't expect that many countries, but could you tell us more about that experience? Like, which one was your favorite, or like something like that?
Right, so every country is different. That makes me so curious about traveling. I can recommend highly the in South America, for example, the Galapagos Islands, that they belong to Ecuador. That is an amazing country because you're literally on the equator and you see, you know, the northern part of the globe and the southern part, and that's so impressive. The jungle in Brazil is in the Amazonas is incredible too. I can You guys who speak Spanish as a native speaker, well, as a native language, I would suggest to get to know and explore Middle America, South America. I've been to Costa Rica, to Nicaragua, to all those countries where it's not so expensive to travel around as, for example, in Europe. However, every country has its own lifestyle and its own I don't know, landscape and scenery, and that makes it so cool. But I think my favorite countries, I think Ecuador or Brazil in America, and for Africa, 100% Morocco. You should really go to Morocco. It's a nice place. And back there in Europe, well, I like Italy. From where I am in Austria, I live so close to the border, so I cross the border in 10 minutes and I'm in Italy, and in Venice and in Udine, which are two cities that I like a lot. And yeah, start traveling as soon as you guys can.
That's the idea. I hope we can all travel and know a lot of countries, but it's really interesting that you've been to so many countries and experienced a lot of things. I think next question is for Anna.
Yeah, I heard that you have like a lot of experience like in so much countries. So do you have like any cultural shocks or things that you find strange in Mexico or in other countries you have been to?
Yes, indeed. There are many in Mexico. My only cultural shock is still, I don't know how you guys handle that, but I'm shocked every time I go to the supermarket and see how long I wait at the cashier's counters, because I just don't get how people have so much time to just be standing there waiting there for hours to get their stuff, you know, taken over the cashier's desk. And also the other thing is that I find it so interesting how you guys always say, no, it's not, you know, spicy. and then it's so spicy for everyone, and I go like, how when do you guys start to eat such spicy food that at some point you really don't think it's spicy anymore? That's the two hardest things for me in Mexico. Probably the time management in general. However, I have to say in my school, I don't know, they are quite strict. So there it's okay. But for example, if you try to verify your car, it's just incredible how much time you have to bring your whole afternoon, and you have to, offer so much time. People are friendly, yes, but I think it's a very time-consuming country. And that's my cultural shock in that region here. And yeah, and the spicy food. But then, yes, I've been to many Muslim countries, and for me it's very yeah, and I wouldn't, yes, not so much a shock, but it's very interesting to see how women always have to use their scarf and try to not show their faces, and how they are not so allowed to use short skirts and are not so free as in other countries. That is something that I find quite shocking, that in some countries we have quite of an equality between men and women, and then there's other countries where women are still very restricted in public. That is something that is a bit weird for me, I would say. Not shocking, like I'm dying of the shock, but it's different in Muslim countries. And apart from that, I don't know, I think traveling opens your mind very much. So at some point you are not shocked about anything anymore. You get to know so many things that in some countries you say, oh, okay, right, I've seen that before. And you get quite used to it.
Well, that's really interesting, like all of the different shocks that could happen. Talking about like the spice, I mean, we are used to it because even we have spice on candy. Like, so
I
since
know.
we're like,
I don't get how you can call them candies. Like candies are sweet, and that's true, that I missed that out. I missed out the rocaleta and all that stuff, which I have no idea how you can call it, even a sweet thing. It's, for me, weird to see that even small kids eat, spicy sweets.
yeah, that's really interesting. How many questions? Okay, let me check. Who's next question? Anna as well? Again?
My question is like, can you tell us a bit about your future plans? Like not only like professional goals, maybe something about your hobbies or professional things that you want to do?
So I've learned in Mexico to not plan much, because sometimes you just cannot plan things, and sometimes they just don't work out the way you did. I have my family here, as I said. So my future plan is to just try to grow a child bilingually, which we are doing at the moment. I have a baby who is only 4 months old, so she's really just learning to speak. And so my professional goal combined with my family is to really get a baby, get to know 2 or 3 languages from scratch, like from really small onwards. I would love to at some point, so my hobbies are to learn languages. I would love to open some sort of coffee shop or something where people can go and just simply speak several languages that they know. I'd love to do that. And I want to to explore the region and to get to know more of where I decided to live in the end, because I'm not planning on going back so soon. So I want to really just be happy with, you know, with all my, with my family, my profession, with where I live, and I think I'm doing quite well at the moment.
I think that's a really good plan. I mean, you didn't need to have everything like planned or figured out. Like just wanting to be happy is a really good answer. So I think we're reaching the end. So last question is for Rodrigo, I think.
Yes. My last question is do you have any advice for us in general?
You said you're in 11th class,
Yes.
so next year you're gonna do your high school degree and be finishing school
Yes.
fully. Okay, right. Well, I hope you can, general advice, just enjoy your school time, even though sometimes it's very tough, because I know that school is so hard and sometimes so boring. But once you're out of school, and I see that now with my ex-students who are so, so happy and keen on coming back to school and telling me how much they should have appreciated back then, that we were their teachers and that we were here for them constantly, because life gets harder and tougher after school. And yes, university is fun, but then, you know, the reality somehow hits you. And I really, really can only advise you guys to appreciate this stage of life and to be really honestly happy and do your hobbies and learn whatever you can. Your brain are sponges still, and you can do everything you want. You have the world at your feet. I really would like you guys to be the future generation that helps us create a better world, so to say, peace maybe. And yeah, that's something that I can only advise you to enjoy right now, and not say, oh my God, school is so boring and so bad, and I just want to get out and I just want to live my own life and get out of my house and be independent. And yes, you can be that all, but just enjoy it and stay positive.
Thank you. I think that it's a really good advice. Like the years in high school pass like really, really fast, and I really appreciate that.
Yes. Me too. Well, I hope I've helped you somehow and I could, I don't know, enrich your class. I don't know if you guys have to present that in class too, that video. Don't be ashamed, don't be shy, just because you guys have to hear yourselves and see yourselves. You know, I understand that sometimes that's how it is when you're young, but later on you will look at that video again and say, wow, I've learned so much from now to the future. That's what I wish for you.
Thank you so much for everything. I mean, it was so nice talking to you. I don't know if you want to say anything else or anybody else wants to say something else. Armando had to leave a bit early. He had a little issue, but yes, we really appreciate your help, and it was really nice talking to you. I don't know if anybody wants to say something. No?
Just for
Yeah.
my part, thank you.
I appreciate that you have to take time and talk with us. And I think your life is like really interesting, and you have learned like many language, and I hope I can learn like a language too. So
Do
thank
you
you.
guys only study English and Spanish at school?
Yes.
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 Okay. Well, then get out there and try to download some app and study any additional language that you want, because now your brains are, you know, all up to it and travel and find friends from all over the world. Just keep keep practicing them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you want to say something or not? Are you good?
Uh, yes, thank you for your time. You have had an incredible life, and I wish you travel too much like you.
You know, as long as you can dream it, you can do it. And I'm sure you will. Just go and get your plane tickets. Never be afraid. And very important, go there alone. Not always with friends. I mean, it's cool to be with friends, but if you're on your own, you will always have to talk to random people, and that will make you much wiser after a time.
That's really good advice, actually. So thank you so much again. Thank you
No,
for this,
thank you guys for
listen-
having me here. And yeah, good
yes,
luck for your English remaining year, and say hi to your classmates and your teacher.
thank you. So I think this is it, and thank you so much for your help. It was really nice.
You're welcome. Bye. Have a nice evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye.